have either said or heard, would you just be patient? Or would you just wait? Did you know there's actually a difference between those two words? Our culture uses them interchangeably, but they're not. See, anybody can wait. How many of you have ever stood in a line at Walmart when there's 24 checkout lanes and only 2 checkers and 18 people in each lane? If you want to get my blood pressure up, that's the way to do it, because I'm usually number 17. I hate to wait in line. And do you think I do it patiently? No. Or how about when you're driving down the interstate or in town, in New England, have you ever been to New Jersey or New York, any of those places? And you'll be flying down the interstate going, I don't know, 75, 70, 65, and all of a sudden you come to a screeching halt because there's a traffic jam that you have no clue if it's 500 feet or 4 miles or what's up ahead, and you sit there wondering, when am I going to move? What is the problem? We were on vacation in Colorado. We were coming back from, we thought, oh, what the heck, let's go to Breckenridge. And yeah, what the heck. That took like, I don't know what, 3-hour drive. And on the way back, we got almost all the way to Steamboat, and everybody came to a screeching halt. Of course, you know it's mountains there, so there was this big curve. You couldn't see what was up ahead. And of course, it's a little 2-lane road. And so we were sitting there, and everybody was going, so what's going on? How long are we going to be here? What's the deal? Because there was no road work or anything up ahead. And an hour went by, and we looked at each other going, oh, there are no bathrooms out here. We were like miles from any town. And no clue when it was going to go. Do you think we waited patiently? Not really, no, we waited. Or how about going to the doctor? What's that little room called? The waiting room, that's right. What happens when the doctor is like running 2 hours behind? Are we really patient? When we've gone through the 7th magazine? Yeah. Now, but we can all wait, can't we? I mean, because you have no other choice. There's nothing you can do but wait. But on the other hand, if you're to be patient, what does that mean? See, patience takes an active obedience to quiet oneself. You know, waiting, we don't have to be active. We can be passive. Be their dad. But to be patient, we have to work. Does patience come overnight? If it did, I missed that train. Because I'm still working on it. No, patience, you have to actively work at it. And you know, God gave me the coolest definition. I don't think this is in Webster, but I really think this is the true definition of patience. It is a continual dying to oneself. I like that. It's a continual dying to our wants and our desires. And finding that peace while we wait. And it could be for anything. It could be maybe something for what we want. Maybe it's waiting for God's time. Maybe it's waiting for God's answered prayer. I thought it was interesting as I was trying to come up with this Advent theme. And I don't know why I was even thinking about patience so much and waiting. And so I started looking at my concordance in my Bible, and there was a whole list of patient and patience. But the interesting thing was, when I got to patiently, every single scripture verse had waiting patiently. It was 14 verses. Waiting patiently. You couldn't have the word patiently in the scriptures without the word waiting before it. I thought that was kind of interesting. So we started thinking about, well, yeah, that would work for Advent, but what about all of the Old Testament people who were on this road long before the Messiah came into the world? And I thought about the ark right away, or if it took a few years before things going. That was a big ark. That was a really big ark. It was like 500 feet. Not to mention those 3 tiers. And he had his 3 sons helping him. I got thinking about his sons. See, you have to realize at that time, scholars would believe there was never rain on the earth until the flood. God watered everything through the ground. It's like a heavy mist or dew. So nobody knew what rain was. And yet when they're going, yo, Noah, what are you doing? I'm building an ark. Why? It's going to rain, huh? And then he gets all 3 sons doing it. Think about that too. His 3 sons had wives. At any point in the 100, let's say 20 years, do you think their wives might have said to them, I think your dad's lost it. You have to realize this place was so big that God was going to destroy everybody. Do you think they were getting outside influences? Do you think they were taking a lot of guff for what they were doing? But Noah was patient. He took the time to build it the way it was supposed to be done. I don't know about you, but I'm not very patient. And sometimes, what's the first thing I'm doing? Looking for a shortcut. How can I do this faster? Well, maybe you don't have to put pitch on both sides. Maybe just one side, go faster. No, it didn't. He did exactly what God said in the time frame that it took. Okay, so then I'm thinking about that. When he got done, did he wonder how the animals were going to get there? But God brought the animals. And then they all got into the boat. All 8 of them. Shut the door. It didn't rain. Anyway. Oh, I don't know about you, but peer pressure. Wow, can you not imagine what the people were saying outside? What about the people inside? Okay, buddy. We did all this. Nothing's happened. They were in the ark for over a week before the first storm hit. And think about that. Then the floods came. For 40 days, the nights it rained, and then it stopped. But guess how long they were in the ark? A year. Waiting for the waters to subside. Wow. Could I have done that gracefully? No. Could I have done it patiently? We live in a day and age where we want everything now. As I told the other children certainly, remember when you used to write letters? I actually used to write letters. And you used to call on the one house phone in the house that had a long cord so you could kind of hide from your folks and they didn't hear everything, Couldn't call long distance. And then all of a sudden I got cell phones. I had a bag phone. It was cool. I thought about that. It's like, now that I have a cell phone, how did I ever exist without one? Because we want to be able to call somebody and talk to them now. We can't wait till we get home. And then it's like, what the heck with writing letters? We came up with email, so we could check them right away. And now. And then it's like, you talk to everybody, email, oh, that's all out now. We text. It's even shorter. And now there's Instagram. I don't even do that. You just take a picture. You don't even have to write. Down. Everything has to be fast. Wow, how many of us would have sat in a boat for a year not knowing when we were going to get out? We're being patient. Okay, now let's jump from Noah. That was the first covenant. God put a rainbow in the sky. Now we're going to move to Abraham. You have to realize Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And immediately, they barely even got off the boat. And one of the sons went, Grr. I'm thinking to myself, God, you knew that. It's just going to start all over again. And it did. And out of all of those successions of people, there was only one guy that God said was blameless and righteous. And that was Abram. But there was a problem. Abram had no kids. He loved Sarah, his wife. She couldn't have any kids. And when we picked up today, Abraham was 75 years old when God said, I'm going to move you from here to there. And then he starts giving him this promise of being the father of all these generations and nations. And Abraham's going, yeah, right. I have no kids. But God said, she's not getting pregnant. Is she waiting? Patiently? She says to Abraham, I got an idea. Since God's a little slow on this thing, the only way you're going to have kids is to have it through my servant girl. I've been thinking about this. You know what I thought was so interesting? It was when we watched in youth group the Bible series. I love the dynamics. I saw it all different between Sarah and Abraham. Up until that point, as far as I know, the scriptures do not mention anywhere where any man had more than one wife. Until Abraham. It was one man and it was one woman. And what God had put together, there was a marital bond that was like nothing that had ever been seen before. And now all of a sudden, Sarah decides in her impatience that she's going to jump the gun and take matters into her own hands. And by giving Hagar to Abram, neither one of them were prepared for the emotional consequences. That was ripped apart. The minute Abraham agreed, readily agreed, Sarah sat outside, knowing what was going on, and her heart started to turn black. Things were not the same. And she was upset. She was mad. She was frustrated, even though it was her own idea. And Abraham was not prepared for the minute he did that, for the feelings that he was about to experience. Let's move a little farther. Ishmael was born. And now Abraham's wondering about this. And God said, he's not the heir. I still don't have anybody. Sarah has still not had a kid. He says, don't worry, but I'm going to make a big nation out of Ishmael. But he's not the one. Abraham became a father to Isaac when he was 100 years old. When God told him you're going to be the father of a great nation, he was 75. 25 years had passed before he became the father of Isaac. Now, we all know the story that when Isaac was older and God asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, I thought this was interesting. We always focus kind of on that act of obedience and faithfulness. But have you ever thought about it as a second chance? See, God's the God of second chances, and I wonder to myself, if Abraham and Sarah had not jumped the gun and they had waited for God to provide Isaac in his timing and in his ways, God have ever asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac? Because see, he failed the first test. He had little faith, but he didn't have big enough faith that when his wife said, hey, I got a better idea, he jumped at it. He failed the test. But God didn't leave him there. He provided a second test. So that way Abraham could take his little faith. See, did God need to see how faithful Abraham was? No. God knew how faithful Abraham was, but God wanted Abraham to see how faithful he was. When you're waiting in life, when you're needing patience, when God is sending test after test, or trial after trial, I want you to look at it in a different light. He's sending us tests and trials so that way we can understand how much faith we have. We don't need to prove anything to him. He already knows what's in our hearts. But he gives us his experiences to prove to ourselves how much we really do love him, how much we really trust him, and how much we're willing to continue to die to our own desires, our own wants,